things in use here. So excuse me. So anyway, what we're going to talk about tonight is fish diseases, possible cures. And look right there. I am, if y'all know me, I've never been a strong advocate at all of using salt. What I don't like about it is it stays in the water column. All right, think about it. It's a solid, right? You put salt water or salt in the water. Keep in mind, we're talking about freshwater fish, right? So you put salt in the aquarium. Eventually, it's a solid. It floats down. I don't care how many water changes you do, salt is still going to be present, right? So, what I don't like about it, and even out here, um, you know, shrimp, snails, catfish, especially scaleless types, plants. Um, Again, this is my only 2 cents worth. You'll have to research, your own needs or whatever else. Um, and I take no blame for anything. Do your research before any medications that I suggest and the possible side effects. So, let's get this rolling, baby. Dropsy. Okay. That is very obvious there. Um, what you'll see is pine coning of scales because it looks like a pine cone. Um, as far as I know, it's almost 100% fatal. Um, there can be ways out of it, I guess, but anyway, causes are bad water, bad diet, sudden changes in water temperature or stress. But um, as often or not, they're gonna probably die regardless of what drug treatment you use. Okay. They might get some extra life out of it. But you'll see in the bottom here, you can try. And again, I'm not a big salt guy. What is that going down there? But anyway, I'm not a big salt guy. Okay. Won't even let me highlight crap. All right. Um, but you can try salt and Melliflix. If you look on the internet, there is a bunch of things about salt and how much to put in there. Now we're not talking about table salt, people. All right, googly moogly. We're talking about aquarium salt. We're not talking about a rock salt. We're not talking about anything else. Aquarium salt. Um, Generally, I think it's about a 1%. I believe. So in other words, you want a 1% mixture. If you got 10 gallons, you want 1% 10 gallons. You got to figure out, what that means. But salt will fix a lot of things. But again, you know, as far as here, excuse me, not a huge advocate. But anyway, I've never had one survive this stage. Okay, never, no matter what I did. The good thing about dropsy, it's not contagious. It's just usually a single fish or whatever. All right, ick. Everybody knows ick. I don't even really have to go through here. Come on, googly moogly. Um, ick. I mean, come on. They're just little white spots all over the little critter. You can't do anything about it. I recommend IckX. And I did not put down in here Super IckX from API. I'm a huge API type guy. The reason being because most of their medications have been tested over and over and time again, and usually does not hurt anything else in the tank. Whether that be plants, whether that be snails, whether that be baby turtles, I don't know. You know, um, Anything else. So, And also, this whole presentation is based upon fresh water. So certainly don't hold me to anything against saltwater. But anyway, it's ick. Um, it, the problem with Ick-X, it is macrolite green, kind of. Um, and you can use the less toxic form of it, which is macrolite green, which is from Corden, I believe. So do whatever you want to. Now, when I'm saying turn the heat up, don't do this on goldfish, people. All right. The whole goal is by turning the heat up. Let's say you normally run it, I don't know, 74. By turning up to 80, is all you're doing. See those little white dots? You're speeding up the process of which they fall off the main critter, and the only way you can kill ick, they have to be in open water. You cannot kill ick when it's on the open body. Okay? So the reason for, turning up the heat is so they fall off quicker. Because the hotter the temperature, the quicker they fall off the host. Okay? You have to kill them in open water. Hence why you have to, um, keep the medication in the water. You got to kill them free forming. You will not kill them while they're hosting the fish. All right, let's keep going. Popeye. Um, as you can plainly see here, Popeye, not 100% fatal by any means. Okay. Um, you can kind of see there, one or both eyes bulge outwards, hence the Popeye name. Usually Popeye is because of bad water for starters, an injury to one of the eyes. Maybe they, bumped into a rock. Now this is a little bit different than cloudy eye, okay, but it still kind of works the same, okay. Um, it can be difficult to treat because the problem is if they develop a bacterial issue as well as the original issue, all right? Um, but normally, if it's contained in one eye, just do water changes for a week. See if it, see if it works. You know. And when I say water changes, people, I'm talking about 25% or so per day, or 20%. And go from there. And then if you see things spreading, you know you're gonna have to use bacterial. Again, that's more of cloudy eye and that type of crap. It gets so hard to diagnose these things. Anyway, Melflix, erythromycin, will work fine for these type of guys. Because this is not negative bacteria, it's positive bacteria. We'll get into that later. Or positive gram versus negative, but positive stuff works. All right, look at there, man. We struck gold. Um, you probably won't see this very often. Velvet or gold dust disease, is definitely similar to ick, but it's not related. Generally, they'll have a excuse me, goodness gracious, um, a gold or copper type dusting. Those are actually parasites. Okay. Um, but it's similar to ick. It is not related at all, but it will infest the entire tank. Okay. Typically, copper-based medications are suggested. I do not recommend them. Again, for simple reasons. Anything copper is going to probably kill off, snails, shrimp, blah blah blah. You're gonna hear this 1,000 freaking times, just like salt possibly can. All right. Um. So, what they recommend, just like ick, salt and then turn up the heat. Um, and again, do your own research, okay? I'm not doing this for you. Um, but you'll turn the heat up. Let's just a typical tank. I don't know, 74, 76 degrees. You'll probably turn it up to 80, 82, 84, something like that. Keep in mind, you're if you're doing something like goldfish, they probably won't make it by temperature alone. Okay. So anyway, salt, heat, safest. They recommend mal- malachite green, and that works. Okay, but you're gonna probably lose some, fish along the way. Keep in mind, General Cure is a safe alternative. That's what I would use. All right, let's keep this going. Oh boy. Oh, this is bad. If any of y'all ever see I can't even pronounce it, man. Camal Camallanus Worms, Calamine worm. I don't know, but anyway, it's pretty plain to see here, and it won't always be here. It could be on the sides of their body, or this or that. That's a parasite. So, is a parasite a disease, Scott? Uh, Not really. I just want to touch on it. Um, but really, you can read everything you need to read right here. The only thing I know that works for sure, doesn't guarantee your fish will live, is levamisole. Um, Now there is Safeguard canine dewormer. It has bendazole in it. In a pinch, I have it here in packets. You'll have to read how much to dose. Um, if you really get these guys, they probably just came from a pet shop. You know, they're not going to arrive on plants or anything else generally. But if you get them, you're going to have to freaking disinfect everything, even your nets. Um, I know that. Oh, what's his name? He uses nets on every freaking aquarium he has and keeps them side by side because he's afraid of infecting anything. Jesus, beard guy. I can't think of his name. But anyway, I would go ahead and check out Greg Sage or Select Aquatics. You can use Google, obviously. He sells it. Um, and he gives, very specific instructions on how to use it. Keep in mind, this stuff will probably kill anything else you have in the tank, though. As far as anything other than fish. Plants is probably fine on, but um, you get these guys, you're a host, man. All right, let's keep going. Okay, look at Cam- Camallanus Worms and Columnaris. It's two different things, all right? So, the problem with this disease, it's mistaken for fungal, and it's not. What you have to do is pay very close attention. Kind of see where I'm putting the pointer here? Very close attention. You notice it's not quote unquote fungal, okay? Sorry, I was taking a drink there. Um, and you got to be very, it's called cotton pendant points. Um, Sometimes it develop around the mouth. I believe cotton mouth disease, they call it. Um, but the problem is, it's pretty fatal and contagious. Okay, it is not an unnecessarily common bacterial infection. Now, if you're like me and maybe a lot of other fish people, you're buying, well, I'm sorry, not like me. Um, you're buying from PetSmarts and Petco's and whatever, man, you're gonna run into a lot of this stuff because they don't treat them for like 30 or 40 days. They don't quarantine them. And when one fish, just like ick, just like any of the previous things we discussed, um, it's gonna get trapped in the system. And it's gonna live on the rocks. It's gonna live wherever. But anyway, this thing, look out for it. Okay, you notice it's not like cottony. It's not stretching out. The problem is this is gram-negative bacteria when you get Columnaris. Columnaris. Whatever. Um, so, if you do a salt bath at 1% of the water, it will kill the free swimming. Excuse me. Goodness gracious. It'll kill the free swimming portion, okay? And you want to follow up with API Furin 2. And this is the only probably time I recommend API Furin 2 is because it treats positive bacteria and negative bacteria. Or positive gram, negative gram. Again, I get confused on all this, but I keep notes and blah, blah, blah. So we're going to continue, but always watch out. That's a poor looking betta, isn't it? I mean, it's got tail rot. I mean, it's got everything. I mean, this thing was mistreated from the get-go, but it was one of the best pictures I could find of Columnaris. Columnaris? Yeah. Anyway, look up one of the beta fish keepers on YouTube. Common fungal. Okay. This is a lot different than Columnaris. Okay. I think they call it cotton wool. They call it whatever. It basically, it's just simply normal. Well, not normal. I mean, really, your fish never had this stuff, but just wool-looking, gross. The good thing is, it's normally not uh, gonna kill your fish. It's normally more of an inconvenience. But there you go. Very common issue, related to ammonia damage or poor aquarium husbandry that could be prevented. Bad shipping can be to blame. Maybe they had too much ammonia burn could potentially cause that. That's something I didn't even cover in the video, but it's just damage to skin. Again, a salt bath, about 1%. And again, look up your salt baths, people. Okay? I'm not a big advocate of it, but if you don't have shrimp, you don't have cories, you don't have placos, you know what I'm saying? Snails, plants can be hurt by it. And if all, API Melifix. I'll usually take care of it. Okay. Apparently this is my last slide. Okay. This is my cheat sheet. Right there. Now you're going to ask me why there's so much API stuff on here. Very simple. Because most of it, or all of it, has been proven they're generally not going to hurt, the snails, the shrimp, the scales catfish, the cories, the placos, the plants, okay? It's a general guideline. But you'll see right here, EM erythromycin, bacterial and fungus. That is true. But that's gram positive bacterial and fungus. Whereas we just discussed right here is gram negative. So in other words, for Columnaris, and again, you have to learn to ID this, EM erythromycin won't do anything for it. Okay? So you have to kind of learn your stuff, and that's kind of why again, back here, I said API Purin 2 because it treats positive and negative. Okay. And then you can go. Usually the rest is pretty good. Now I know I said originally on ick to use IckX, which is Hikari. Super Ick Cure API works just fine. Okay. So you got to determine is a bacterial and fungus. Generally, erythromycin will work. It's parasitic. Generally, cure will work. Okay. You just have to follow this. Okay. And look here. There's my big, big disclaimer. All right. It's a very general guideline. Okay. I believe API really is the safest choice as far as what you see here: snails, shrimp, scaleless fish, plants. Can I guarantee they won't die in the process? No, I certainly won't. Okay. And right here, I make no claims that any of this information will help cure or relieve the symptoms of ailing fish. Okay. I only suggest that in my experience, some of the above suggestions can help. And again, that's my experience. I have used most of what is listed there, if not all. Okay. I've never had Camallanus Worms again, so I've never had to use levamisole. I have ordered it and I do have it on hand. Again, my fish come from reliable resources. I don't get them from pet shops. I don't get them from wholesalers. I mean, they come directly from the breeders. Um, and I'm not sure I've ever gotten a fish that's had anything other than maybe I've had ick before, but guess where that came from? Petco. Okay. So anyway, um, no claims are made that mixing and or using salts and medications will help speed, cure, heal the issue. No matter the method, fish, shrimp, snails, plants might die. Yeah, I've lost a few here and there, you know, but usually not to these causes, but it can happen. Um, you know, do your own research at the very, very bottom. Okay. Now there was a bunch of other diseases I could hit on. Um, I decided to hit the well-rounded part, but again, this is a good guideline right here, you know, on what treats what. You have to learn, is it parasitic, is it bacterial, is it fungus, you know, and then go from there. Um, Follow my guidelines, and if you don't, follow somebody else's. But the general thing is, aquarium salt does seem to work on a good majority of these cases, or at least alleviates or helps. All right, people, that's it. Done. All right, laters. How you stop recording?